Hey guys! Alright, today I want to talk to you about how to do a fuck this shit ceremony and what it is and go into detail about it. So a fuck this shit ceremony is something that came to me when I was so freaking fed up with what was going on in my life. I was just over it. Like I had been working on this pattern dissolving for so long, but it wasn't being dissolved. And then one day I was like, you know what? I've had enough of this. Like I'm not going to do this anymore and I'm done. And because I got to that feeling in my body of I am so done and I'm finished and I'm not having any more of this, just magically downloaded into my head what to do about it. So what came into my head was that I needed to decide, and I needed to decide emphatically, and I needed to bring that decision like through my body. So I wanted to do a ceremony that was really like, okay, I'm done, I'm finished. Because I'm doing the ceremony, I'm drawing the line in the sand. Because I'm doing the ceremony, it's done. So I do a lot of energy work, and you know, when I do my energy sessions, I am changing the light and information and patterns that are within people, within their fields, about money, about love, about what they deserve, about what they can have, about like all sorts of these things. And there's lots of like layers and energetic patterns that can go into things. And they can be past life stuff, they can be emotional blockages, they can be trauma, there can be aspects of self fragmented out of the body, like there's all sorts of things. So when I was like just not having any more of it, and this was, I would say, last year in the spring, so it was a year ago, and I remember I was just like, you know what, why am I still dealing with this pattern? Like I know how to like move worlds and I'm over here still dealing with this pattern. It's ridiculous. Like I'm just not having any more of it. And I was like, okay, well it's done. And I was like, all right, well if it was done and I had decided that it was done and it was super done and I wasn't having any more of it, well then what would I do? And I was like, well, I would unravel the patterns. I would do a ceremony symbolically unraveling the patterns, and I would allow that to be symbolic of what I'm choosing to be done in the energy, okay? So what I mean by that is because I view things as patterns and layers of patterns, because I've done a lot of energy work, I knew that my issue, which at the time, hold on, let me think about it. At the time, I was feeling some sort of things like I'm not allowed to have power. That was the pattern that was going on in my field, and it was driving me crazy because I didn't feel like I could resolve it. I didn't feel like I could have power, and because I didn't feel like I could have power, I didn't feel like I could like do anything that I wanted in my life. It was a very, obviously, a pattern based on feeling powerless. So there were other upper levels to that pattern, like my power doesn't exist, or I can't see it, or I can't find it, or it's not there, and like there were several layers going on with that. And I've, you know, obviously totally resolved all this now. But at the time I had not, and I was like, you know what, I'm not okay with this taking years anymore. And that was really what did it for me. I was like, I am not allowing this to continue to go on for years. Like I don't have time for this, right? It's already gone on for years. I'm already over it. So what I did is it downloaded in my head that I needed a stick. And I got a stick to represent the pattern, the entire pattern. I didn't need to know what the pattern was. I didn't care if it was from some other lifetime. I didn't care if it was from some trauma when I was 5. I didn't care if it was whatever. Like I did not care what the problem was, how it got there, how long it had been there, what I would need to do to I didn't care. I was like, it's just done. It's done. Stick is representing the pattern, and that's just the end of that. So I chose for the stick to represent the core pattern, and then because I do view things in patterns, I know, especially with a larger pattern, it may take multiple energy sessions to clear it. Will it be cleared? Of course, 100%. I always get what I want. I always clear the thing. I always get on the other side of the thing. Just is what it is. I know how to do that. I have that sort of like experience, and I have that belief system because I've done a lot of energy work, and I know and I trust implicitly that source energy is self-intelligent. Cosmic forces are self-intelligent, and they know what to do to unravel a problem. I don't have to figure it out like on a personal level. The energy figures it out, right? Like the energy container figures it out. The universe unravels it for you. You just have to choose, okay? That is the belief structure that I have. I do have that belief structure because that's been my experience, but then again, that's probably been my experience because that became my belief structure. And then I actually was for Matrix Energetic seminars many years ago, like, I don't know, 2008, 9, and 10, when I used to go to the seminars back in the day about, you know, learning to view things in layers of patterns, learning not to have judgment, learning to be neutral, and allowing the energy to do the work, right? Like, I am the door, I am not the doer, right? The energy, cosmic forces, the universe does the work. I am just the door, it just flows through me, but I'm not actually like doing the work. Okay, does that make sense? Like, I am the door, I am not the doer. Cosmic forces are the doer. They're what is doing it. I have to just decide, and then all the cosmic forces around me line up to unravel that thing. And that is something that, when you really start to understand energetic containers, makes perfect sense. So anyway, I knew, okay, this pattern, because in my body it felt so hard and it felt so difficult. It felt like it had been there for freaking ever. And it felt like, I'm never gonna like get over this. Well, I've had many patterns where I felt like I'm never gonna get over this, but then I got over it, okay? Like, I can't even tell you how many times that's happened to me. So I know when I feel that feeling in my body of, oh, I'm not gonna get over this, this is gonna be, like, it'll never be okay. I know that that's not true. I know that's not true, and I know that it's bullshit, because I've already so many times had the experience of being on the other side of the thing that previously I thought that I couldn't like overcome. It's totally not true. I also have that belief structure, but I have that belief structure because I have the experience. Anyways, so what I did is I was like, you know what, I don't care how many freaking patterns this pattern is of I don't feel like I can have power. I'm not having any of it anymore. So what I did is I just decided that I would allow the string to go ahead and represent the pattern. And I didn't tie the string to the stick because I didn't want to. Because I just wanted it to be, you know, it's not stuck, right? It's not stuck, and it can be easily unraveled. And I know that when I go into my theta brain and I go to unravel patterns, that it is very easy to unravel, and it is just something that just happens. Okay, so as you can see, not tied to the stick, just hanging there on the stick. Okay, so the stick is representing the core pattern, and then the thread, or the yarn, normally I use thread, but I decided to use yarn because you guys can't see the thread. But any string, I don't care if it's dental floss, doesn't matter. Any string you have in the house will be perfect. Shoelace, there you go. So whatever, so you've got the stick, and then you've got this tangled around it. Now you are ready to do your ceremony. So in my ceremony, I would have this ready, and then I would get out a sheet of paper and I would write down what I was not having any more of and the pattern that needed to go, and I was done. And I wrote on the sheet of paper, I am 100% done with this. I am not having any more of this. This pattern gets to go. I refuse to feel like this anymore. I am 100% done. Super done, so done. I can't even tell you how done I am. Did I mention that I was done? Right? So that's what I wrote on the pattern. That's what I wrote on the paper, and then I wrote what the pattern was that I wanted to be done, and I decreed it to be done. Then I was like, okay, I've put my desire on the paper. I've expressed what is perfect and what needed to come out, and then I took the stick and oh shit, this is harder than I thought. Hold on. Damn it. Boy, this doesn't make for a good video, does it? Hold on. There we go. There we go. Then I break the stick. All right, that was mildly embarrassing. Normally I use a stick that's like this big, but I was like, oh, if I use a small stick, they're not going to be able to see it. Let me go find the biggest stick in the yard. So there we go. This is the biggest stick in the yard. Right, so now I have broken the pattern. I have triumphed over the stick. And then, this is a wet stick, which actually now has stuff everywhere because it's raining outside. But it's okay, I want to do this video for you. I didn't care that it was raining. So now I'm like, I've broken the stick. That is me symbolically breaking the pattern. Now that I have broken the pattern, and this is what's important, now that I have broken the pattern, it is done. Because I've decided that it's done. And me symbolically breaking the stick is like taking the action in physical reality to be like, done. It's just done. So then the second thing that I do is I symbolically move the yarn off the stick, which to me represents moving any stuff that has to do with other lifetimes, that has to do with ancestral stuff, that has to do with DNA imprinting, that has to do with trauma, that has to do with stuck emotions, that has to do with aspects of self, any of those things. As far as I'm concerned, that's what this represents, okay? So the stick is the core part of the pattern, and then this is any of the like energetic stuff that it could possibly be, lifetimes, dimensional shit, whatever. All right, so then what I do is I crumpled up my pattern, the energetic pattern, and I put it in the middle of my sheet of paper that I've written all my my decree on. I've written my decree, and I stick that in there. And actually, I've never used yarn before. I always use this thread, which one thing of thread will last you for years. Ask me how I know this. And then what I do is I take my lighter and I go ahead and safely burn it. And I burn it with the string inside. I don't really feel good about burning yarn. I would probably just throw the yarn away. Like, I don't choose to burn yarn, but if you want to burn yarn, I mean, that's fine. I'm only using the yarn for video illustration purposes, but 100% of the time when I'm doing it like myself, I'm using the string, and then I'm putting the string in the paper. And to me, that is, now I'm letting go of, and I'm transmuting, to me the fire is I'm transmuting the pattern, this being representative of the pattern, and my decree is on the paper, and so I've made the decision, I've broken the pattern, I have released any of the energetic strings that are like holding the pattern in place, and now I am transmuting the energy. So if you are going to set your paper on fire, do it safely outside on the concrete, which is what I usually choose. Another good choice is in your kitchen sink. Make sure you clear everything out of the sink. There's nothing in the way. And I'm only, burning a very small piece of paper. Obviously, I'm not trying to start a fire. And then I can use the water to go ahead and wash away the remnants that are in the sink, like the faucet water. So to me, the water is very important. So if I'm doing this out on the sidewalk, and obviously I'm doing it on the sidewalk, I'm not doing it on the rug, I'm not doing it inside, I'm not doing it on the welcome mat outside, I'm like all the way out on the concrete. And then I'm burning the paper, and then I have water with me. Like, I start the ceremony like I've already got the pitcher of water. Like a big pitcher of water, not like a small glass. And then I am not only washing away the little bits of paper that are left after it's been burned, but I'm also making sure that I'm completely dousing the flames, obviously, because I'm not trying to set anything on fire outside. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to like set the mulch on fire. So not only is it like a safety to use the water to clear that, but also I'm using the water to fully release. Like, to me, that's like I'm washing away the pattern. Like, I've burned it, it's completely done, and now I'm taking my huge pitcher of water and I'm pouring it on top, and I'm just letting it all go. Like, the pattern is completely done, and I make sure 100% that those flames are super, super out. If you are not okay with using fire, no problem. What I would do is I would take scissors and I would just chop the thread up into small pieces, chop the paper up into small pieces over the trash can, and that is your energetic release of the pattern. That's your energetic release of the pattern. So although I enjoy using the fire and I like that, you don't have to, because it's not that the fire is magical, it's not that the stick that is magical, and it's not that the yarn is magical. What it is that your intent is magical. Your decision is what is magical, okay? That is the important thing here. So you can still use the scissors to cut the paper up over the trash can, cut the yarn up into small pieces over the trash can, and you are still going to get what you have decreed and what you have decided, because it is your intent, it is your choice, it is your, you know what, I am doing this. And if I freaking get my butt in gear to write down what I am freaking done with, I go get a stick, I get myself some string, and I do my whole little process here, which really probably only takes me about 15 minutes. It's not like it's a long process. But if I'm doing that, I am done with something. You know what I mean? Like, if something you're like wishy-washy about it, you're not going to bother to go do all that. And that to me is part of like what makes it like, no, I'm done, where you're like, done. Because you're deciding to go do the ceremony, you're deciding to write it down, you're deciding to rip up the paper or burn the paper or whatever it is. You're deciding to break the stick and just be like, no, I'm done. So one thing that I want you to take away from this is, I don't believe that there are any rules in ceremonies. So you don't have to do your ceremony exactly the way that I did. You need to do your ceremony whatever way it is that you want to do it. And what is important is that it has meaning to you and it just clicks in, right? Because this whole little ceremony thing just downloaded into my head. It's not like I had somebody tell me or I saw some situation about it, whatever. It was just like, boom, click into my head. And it just made perfect sense. I was like, oh my goodness, I will do that. What a great idea. So I have lots of little ceremonies that I do now in order to shift and change the energy and make decisions, because I view my entire reality to some degree as an energetic container. And the universe is responding to me, right? Like I have this relationship with the universe and it is morphing and changing and we're in this energetic dance together. That is one of the things I do like about shamanism and more sort of like earth-based views of reality, is it views everything as a relationship and like this back and forth relationship, and I really resonate with that a lot. So I live in America, obviously a very capitalist society, and I noticed that lots of times in our society we view things as like dominion over, right? Like we have power over this thing and we don't really view it as this like flowy relationship back and forth thing. And what I really like about shamanism is that it has that energetic back and forth. So as far as I'm concerned, when I'm doing my ceremony here, I'm like communicating with the universe, right? I'm communicating with the energetic container known as my universe. Now, most energetic containers are obviously something like I have like decided, okay, like if I'm doing a session with someone, it's from this time to this time, this is the energetic container. I have larger energetic containers, like I have a 6-week energetic container right now I've created for a program that I'm doing called Merge With Your Power. But like energetic containers are whatever you want them to be. Your whole reality can be an energetic container. And because I have the dominant archetype of Merlin, I spend a lot of time thinking about that and communicating with the universe. Like to me, the universe is like this living, breathing sort of like exchange that I'm having back and forth, and the universe is communicating with me all the time. My favorite numbers are 1s and 4s, 1144, 1114, 141. Like I see these numbers all the time. Those are my favorite numbers, and to me that's the universe communicating with me. When I receive a feather, again, that's the universe communicating with me. The other day I was on someone's live stream and she mentioned like a Batman mask, and then I looked in my email and someone had a Batman mask as a picture in the email, and that literally happened within 30 seconds of each other. That to me is the universe playing with me, right? Like that divine synchronicity. So just like the universe can communicate with you, you can communicate with the universe, right? To me it's just like I've said it, flowy back and forth. So my, little ceremony here is me, like I feel like I am in partnership with the universe. Like we are communicating together. Like I feel like on a daily basis I'm communicating with my angels and my guides and my ancestors, and I'm like, hey man, we're all gonna do this. And I feel like I'm communicating with cosmic forces, like the fabric of reality itself, especially when I'm doing an energy session. That's why I feel like I'm so neutral and able to allow the energy to flow, because I know I am not the doer, I am the door. The universe is the doer. So by entering into an energetic container, it's like, well, now I have this fun, flowy sort of partnership with the universe where like we're doing the things, we're doing them on the quantum level. So I am super into ceremonies, and I've really like started to integrate them in my daily life. Like before I would only do this whole like ceremony thing outside on the ground, but then it was like cold, and then it was annoying, and then it was midnight, and then I of course want to do this ceremony at midnight, because why would I not want to do it at midnight? And then it's like freezing outside and icy, and so then that was where I got the bright idea, I'll just do it in the sink. It's fine, like I can do it in the sink, and then I have to get dressed and go outside. The bathtub is also another good place to do this, but don't set the shower curtain on fire. Please don't set the shower curtain on fire, and sit outside the bathtub and do it. I've never done it in the bathtub, but I mean you could if you didn't feel comfortable doing it in the sink. Anyways, the point of my story is that I have been integrating these ceremonies more into my life and allowing it to be like this natural back and forth flowy, and all sorts of fun things have like downloaded into my head of like how to communicate with the universe, how to make decisions, how to like shift and change and morph like the fabric of reality around me. And it feels really good because I feel like I'm in partnership. I've never really gotten the whole, like, not that there's anything wrong with going to church, but I do know a lot of people that go to church and they don't feel to me like they have a partnership union with the universe. They feel to me like they're like just talking into nothing or praying into nothing, and like they don't get a response. And I'm just like, why are you doing that again? I'm confused. But I don't have any religious programming. So I'm just like, why are you doing that? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Point of my story is you can make choices. You can choose what you want. And in order to do that, do things that are meaningful to you. Like if you get a different ceremony in your head that's not the ceremony that I just shared, perfectly fine. Do the ceremony that came to you. You need to do what feels good to you. You might even just want to do the stick and not do anything else. And you could totally do the stick and get just the same results that I do because it has meaning to you and you feel complete. It's just a stick. Or you could just do the piece of paper. Just burn or rip up the piece of paper or cut it into little pieces and don't even do the stick. And it'll have just as much an effect because it's correct for you. So, wait, I feel like I had one last thing to say before I go, and it was... Oh, I remember. What I wanted to tell you all was the results that happened. So after I did my ceremony, I was like, okay, we're done here. I stopped thinking about it. I went about my life because I knew that the pattern has to unravel now. Like it has to unravel, and it has to unravel because I've decided. So that means anything that's not a match to what I've just decided now has to fall away and dismantle itself. Anything in my psyche, anything in my emotional body, anything in my mental body, all of that has to literally just, like if you knock a tower of Jenga over and then it all just crumples, the pattern has to do that because I just decided it did. I just broke the stick. I just decided I'm over it, right? And so now, because this was a larger pattern, I had a funny feeling it would take a few months to unravel, and it did. It took about 3 months. But this was a pattern that I had going on for years and 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 years, like my whole life. Okay, so for it to unravel in 3 months, as far as I was concerned, was stellar. And one of the things that happened was I ended up the next month going to the UK and going to Scotland is where I spent most of my time, but I did stop at Stonehenge on the way before I came back home to the United States. And I ended up having this like spontaneous soul retrieval, and it was amazing, and I felt so much something like a piece of me was returned that I was missing. And when that integrated, oh, it took like a few days for it to integrate, but I just felt so different. It was so good, you guys. It was so good. And so that was one of the ways how the pattern in my universe shifted and changed that I couldn't have foreseen. Like I couldn't have foreseen how that was going to occur. I mean, there's no way I could have like written that. All I knew was that it needed to happen, it was going to happen, and I didn't care how it was going to happen. It was just going to happen now, and I was done with it, and I wasn't available for it to go on for years and years and years. It's just, I wasn't available. It's the simplest way to put it. So, you know, I had a few other shifts and changes in my consciousness. I don't really remember what they were because it was like a year ago. 1,000 things have happened since then because I'm always constantly shifting and changing the energy all the time and like up-leveling. So I do know that the pattern completely dismantled itself, and now I really can't remember why I felt that way. I don't really remember what else happened besides the soul retrieval at Stonehenge. Like I got nothing. I don't know. All I know is it's gone and it's great. And it's almost silly to me now. It's like, why did I even think that was a problem? And I felt this 3 months after I did this ceremony. So it's not like it took a whole year for it to happen. But I just wanted to give you all the update. Like that's what happened with the story. And I continuously do this for other things. Like I know I have just like a smidge little like ex-boyfriend stuff going on, and I'm like, you know, it's only like 7%, but I choose to be 100% clear. I feel like I'm 93% clear and I want to be 100% clear. So I'm like, you know, after talking to you all about this, I think I need to go do another one of these ceremonies and like release that 7% because I know that's going to be a big release. I just feel like it's going to be like this click, like this completion energy, and I'm excited about that. So yeah, I think I'm going to go do that now. But anyways, please try this ceremony. Let me know how you like it in the comments. It's so good. It's something I do all the time. And for minor things, I go ahead and I don't do the stick. I just like write things down on a sheet of paper and just decree it. But for the larger things, I do the stick. It feels to me more like it's necessary. Like, yeah, like this is totally done or it's totally finished, like something new is coming, and there we go. So anyways, I hope you all like this video. Let me know in the comments, and I will talk to you later. Bye.